Hello, my name is Scott Gordon McLean. I live in Wethersfield, Connecticut. So, greetings from this side of the pond. What a great idea you folks there in Edinburgh had about making video a part of the query process. You're the folks are the only people that I've seen that have done something like this. It's a great idea. So, let me give you a little bit of background on the passage that I'm going to read from the Birth of Modern Merlin. What has transpired in the story up until the passage that I'm going to read for you. So we have two characters, the protagonist, Magnus Cook, his love interest, Ailey McEachran. The scene takes place in Scotland in 2016 on a luxury sailboat. Magnus is a time pilot. I don't want to go into what that is, but it's a fantasy story, and he emerges on Earth from a place called Timekeeper Central for his mission. He finds himself on this luxury sailboat, and they're sailing up through the Hebrides. They pick up Ailey McEachran. They're both about 25 years old, give or take. She's from Islay. They continue their journey together, and things are starting to get a little strange. They're confined in this small space through their journey. They sail up around Cape Wrath, through the Pentland Firth, spend a day at John O'Groats, and then continue after that. And that's where we pick up the story as they're sailing south towards Inverness. And of course, they've been confined in this sailboat space for 5 or 6 days now. Even though they are falling in love and they like each other at heart, the tension and stress of the situation is starting to get to them. So that's where we pick up this scene right now. Let me call it up, and we'll begin reading from, this is about 48 pages into The Birth of Modern Merlin. Having traversed the entire northern coast of Scotland, we now left John O'Groats in our wake, but continued to follow the Scottish coast as our journey to God knows where took us south. The trip to the seaside town of Wick was a short journey, just 14 miles. We easily made it there before dusk. We topped off our tanks with fuel and water, pulled into our slip for the night, and tried to get some sleep. When dawn arrived, I was still groggy, but the smell of freshly brewed coffee was persuasive, and I made my way across the boat's beam just a short distance to the galley, and then into the nearby dining area where Ailey sat, wide awake, sipping her hot tea. "He's gone," she said, taking another sip. "What?" I exclaimed, not wanting to begin yet another day of drama and uncertainty. I moved towards the stern of the boat to Swede's stateroom. The door was open, the room as clean as if a maid just finished her duties. There was no sign of any of the work Swede said he needed to do. All he left behind was a boatload of unanswered questions. I returned to the galley, poured some coffee into the mug, and sat down across the table from Ailey. "Any ideas?" I asked. "Yeah, I've got an idea," she said, her anxiety and sleeplessness clearly showing. "It feels like we're stuck inside a bad Hollywood creature feature, just when things are calm and the girl least expect it, like now. Some fucking whale shark comes up from the bottom of the ocean and eats everybody." "Well, if it will make you feel any better," I said, "whale sharks only eat plankton. They live in the tropics." "Push me hame," she said, hollered. "Who at you, yank bawbag? Thinking you're so much smarter than the daft hoocher lassies, are you? Thinking I'm glicket, cunt." "Back off, step away from the edge. I don't have any idea what the hell you just said, but I'm thinking my answer is no." This is new territory for me. Even though I was born in Scotland, I only spent my first 18 years here before emigrating to America. All my experience talking to women was with the relatively calm American variety. I had no experience going face to face with a pissed-off 21st century Scottish dragon. Yikes. I waited, said nothing. Silence. After a short time, she seemed a bit better, but I thought she was still too dangerous to think things were back to normal, whatever that meant. During this interlude, I thought, well, maybe that's not Maybe that's how to deal with a pissed off Scottish woman. Let her flame it out, like excess methane burned off at an oil refinery. Yes, it represents a lot of wasted energy, and that's a shame. But if all that fire doesn't burn off, dang, the whole planet could explode in a messy fireball, killing billions of innocent people. No, I don't want that. Taking notes. Lesson learned. I gotta get off this fucking boat, she said. 6 days trapped here with you and Marcus and the two of them hiding down below. It's too much. Too much fucking drama. So, come on. You're coming with me. We're gonna see what this fucking little town's got to offer. Okay, I said, but enough with the F-bombs. Fuck this, fuck that. Where I come from, only total losers talk that way. They aren't smart enough to talk differently. Are you a total loser? No, I don't think so. But if that's the way you're going to talk all the time, I don't want to be around you, especially in public. I'll dump you like a bad habit. Who are you, me father? Well, now I was pissed off too, and I stepped it up a notch. I went there. No, I said coldly. He's dead, and so's your mother. I bet they're rolling over in a... Before I finished the sentence, she reared back, her elbows straight, fully extended, and she slapped me across the cheek hard. Her teeth clenched, her hair flying in front of her face, her piercing blue eyes engorged with rage. It stung. She caught me good. But now I had the advantage, because I sensed she knew she'd crossed the line. So what would be my response? I thought about the lesson I taught myself moments ago, keeping my wits about me, letting time be my ally. I said nothing, did nothing. Her excess flame burned bright, letting the moment play out, but I kept a lock grip stare on her, eye to eye, like an alpha dog establishing dominance over a challenger. Who would cave first? 12 seconds went by, an eternity. But then she blinked, she averted her stare, and she moved into the galley. I let her think about it, alone, for 20 minutes. If we were to live peaceably together, for whatever time we had, days, weeks, who knew at this point, I couldn't ignore this nasty episode. We needed a satisfactory resolution. I made my way into the galley and spoke, deliberately. I know you're upset. All this Vivian stuff is unsettling. It unsettles me, too. And I'm sorry if I offended you. That wasn't my intent. But you crossed the line with the physical stuff. That's unacceptable. I'll give you a little bit of time to think about it, I said before leaving. I hoped for an apology, a sincere apology, but I didn't want to demand one. If that apology came sooner rather than later and there's still enough time left in the day, well then maybe we could explore this nice little town together, maybe get something to eat. But if no apology was forthcoming, well, I don't know. I left the galley, climbed the steps topside, and received a sobering jolt as soon as my head emerged outside. A face full of icy sleet, powered by the cold, bracing Scottish wind coming off the waters of the North Sea. The ice pellets hurt when they hit my face. Nevertheless, just hanging over the eastern horizon was the precursor of a most beautiful sunrise. You see, sailors are a privileged lot. We experience sunrises and sunsets in their purest form, out at sea with no obstructions to mar the light's transmission from star to sailor. Having watched so many day-night transitions over the years and mulling their significance, I've come to this conclusion. Sunrises and sunsets are like different actors who play to different audiences. You see, sunsets are for everyone. You kick back, end of a long day, relax, pour yourself a beverage, take in the beauty of the fading light. The warmth of the late afternoon's high temperature still lingers, and it envelops you as you reminisce about the accomplishments of the day. So a sunset is about appreciation and the past. Everyone loves this transition from day to night. Now, sunrise, that's different. Its audience, smaller, more devoted. These are the hardy few, the joggers and dog walkers, the bundled brave who venture outside at dawn, often alone, able to ignore the overnight's lowest temperatures and their frosty residue. They are handsomely rewarded for their courage, though. The day's first light pierces the night, a laser of hope, giving birth to words like optimism, opportunity, words which crush the shadows of failure. To the early riser, the sunrise boldly exclaims, "What's past is past." It's the wake behind the ship, the dust trailing the wagon. If sunset is about thankfulness and appreciating the past, well, sunrise is about hope, anticipating a better future yet to be written. Ailey was no fool. She was highly intelligent. She was also the product of good parenting. So before they died, her parents imbued her with moral clarity. When she knew she was wrong, she owned those mistakes and accepted responsibility for them. When she came out of the galley and emerged topside, Ailey sat down next to me and said, "I'm sorry. I won't make any excuses for being tired or stressed or anxious. There's no excuse. You didn't deserve that. I hope you'll forgive me." I knew she was sincere. It was in her eyes, those all too beautiful eyes. They were flawless, sapphire blue, but tinted bloodshot red by her tears. Yet they still sparkled with passion's fire, the depths of which I'd never fully understand. "I accept your apology," I said, getting straight to the point. "Thank you," she said, still contrite. Whew, I thought, glad that was out of the way. I sensed it was my turn to lighten the moment, though, so I said, "It's funny. We just had our first fight. Before we even had our first date. How dumb is that?" "Date? What date? There's no date." "Well, sure there is," I said. "In the midst of all those F-bombs, you asked me out on a date. See what the town's got to offer is how you put it." "Well, that's not a date," she said. It's not a date. A date is when you ring me up and ask me to join you. Entertainment, a movie, a concert, something like that." "Darling, you are very entertaining. Just sitting there in that chair, you entertain me. I guess we're on a date right now, eh?" She smiled that toying smile, knowing that we were getting back to that good-natured teasing we had with each other when we first met back at Glen Watt. She picked up on it and replied, "Yeah, but it doesn't count. You didn't ring me up first. It's not a date." If you don't think we're on a date, well, that's fine. You've got some pretty stupid rules over here, and there's nothing I can do about that. But you're the one who asked me to hit the town. A phone wasn't necessary. So all the judges in America would agree with me. It's a date. But just so we can clear up any confusion, I'll ask it officially. So I held up my hand to my ear, thumb and pinky extended, imitating a phone, and I began to talk into my fingerprint. "Hello, Ailey, it's Magnus. Yes, Magnus Cook, that handsome guy you met the other night on the boat. Would you like to join me and go check out this nice little town and be entertained by whatever stupid things we discover? On a date?" Well, she lifted up her hand to her ear in the same way, and we completed the stupidest looking pseudo-phone conversation in history. "Yes, Mr. Cook, I'd be glad to accompany you." "So let's go then. A plate full of eggs awaits," I said, glad this dramatic interlude was over. Well, after we got off the boat, started to walk towards the center of Wick, Ailey whispered into my ear, "You know, Yank, I don't fuck on the first date." Not missing a beat, I replied, "Ailey, I don't think you fuck on the second, 9th, or 27th date." She laughed that big, hearty laugh of hers, knowing she had regained the upper hand. "That's right," she said. See, the previous hour was the perfect metaphor for this wild and beautiful land, inhabited by such wild yet beautiful people. If the Scottish left hand is unnecessarily harsh and cruel, and it is, well, then the right holds an equal counterweight, possessing superlatives with no ceiling. The Scots claim the highest highs, succumb to the lowest lows, a manic-depressive, puzzling paradox. It's so Scotland, and Ailey McEachran is its poster child. It wasn't even 7 a.m. yet, and I was already being entertained by this enigma of Scottish brine and beauty. I'm Scott Gordon MacLean. Thanks for listening.